Alright, and we are live. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Redemption with Jaden. Getting in our weekly video via live stream this evening, and this is I'm at a different location than I normally am, so hopefully everything looks and sounds all right, despite the camera angle not being what I would what I would prefer, I guess. But it's my brother's house, and he's got his camera set up there, and the cable is strapped in. So sorry, you're getting a little up the nose shot. You can let me know in the chat if I've got any boogies that I need to deal with or anything, I guess. So we have at least one game happening tonight, maybe two. So it might be a little bit before we actually get into a game here, though, because a few of our participants either ended up not being able to play tonight because stuff came up, or just needed to push the time back a little bit. So Jay and Jake will be playing in roughly around 20 minutes or so. And then John and James, well, John was unable to play tonight, and so it's possible that Luke Marshall might hop in to take his place, as he was the fifth seed that kind of just well, he had to forfeit round one, and then he got forfeited two in the last round, and the way that we were doing forfeits just kind of made it not ideal for his scoring, I guess. So we've got, I guess we only had 3 rounds in this Grand Prix, so it's, you know, it just means that he only got to play one game out of the 3, and then did not make top cut as a result of that. And so I'm hoping that he's available tonight, and we can just knock it out here, get all the final 4 games potentially. But we're at least going to do one, a maximum of 3. So hang tight. Hope you all are excited. And yeah, no worries, Jake. You definitely just give me some time to talk, and I can do like a Tyler Talks episode. I wonder what decks I have on this. Let's see. What deck is this? This is apparently the latest deck that I had put or started building in this version of my plugin, I guess. Yeah, I called it Daniel Wipes. Oh man, it's been a while since I've used this. This is like the plugin that I have on my flash drive, which is what I'm using here at my brother's house, which is also what these goofy dogs are. Like this one, who needs all the attention in the world. I guess I'll try to hang out on the lap here, hopefully not bump into the microphone too much. I don't know if you got picked up too much on the camera here, but here we can we tilt it down a little bit. Oh, look at that. Say hi, Jovi. That is Jovi, as an, oh gosh. He is a little bit too big for being a lap dog, but he makes it work. Jovi as in Bon Jovi, basically. All right. Daniel Wipes. I mean, wipes, you think like board wipes. Oh, okay, yeah. So I've got hailstones in here. I should probably sort it by types instead of brigade. We got mostly offense going on. So hailstones. Not a whole lot of other wiping going on here. Oh, I don't know what that deck was supposed to be. Let's see. This one might be interesting. This is a deck from 2018, looks like, was the last time I edited it. And it looks like it's kind of similar to the Scrolls Only deck that I played in Mr. Classic. So sure, let's just start from the bottom and go up, see what we got in here. So it's a running Nazareth. It's called Bomb Zeke Crimson. So because of Moses and Ezekiel, all that stuff. And let's see. Might have a game ready here soon, not quite sure. People, part of the problem is people having kids. Makes them less available. As many of you parents likely know. All right, and if you're just joining, the gameplay will probably be beginning at the latest in roughly 15 minutes. So if you don't want to hang around and just listen to me blab about an old deck of mine here, then that's perfectly reasonable. I'll see you back in a little bit. So mostly rotation lost souls. I guess this one is now a rotation lost soul, as is this one, since they have legacy rare versions. So, you know, it could be close to a rotation deck. Looks like I've got NT Unity almost with the Hopper and Wanderer here. So, you know, could update with some NT stuff here, like Undesirables or Defiled. You got Angel Under the Oak, of course. The problem with this deck, or main problem, is that it looks like we still got Samuel going on in here, so I have to figure that out. But I kind of like the. I mean, it's like it's a green splash offense basically. It's like it's almost mono green, but it's got like some splash stuff with the enhancements. See, Faith of Joseph. Oh, interesting. I was using that for some reason. I mean, the deck, it may not look like your average fast deck, but there are a lot of fast things about it, such as Angel Under the Oak, Samuel. That's probably kind of the first turn go-to or kind of target, I guess. But then also her with this Gifts of the Magi up here can draw you a bunch of cards. So Faith of Joseph was used in like your Children of Light and some other decks that were just trying to be ultra fast, like get every form of card advantage or kind of like card replacement as possible. So Faith of Joseph, you can just place it in your territory and draw one. So it's kind of like drawing a Lost Soul. Of course, with one territory class enhancement limitation, this one is not one that you will really care about unless you're playing against Jay and you play Son of God before you have Second Coming, and then he banishes Son of God from your discard pile with Dubious Doubters. That's that can be a problem. I like the flexibility on Faith of Abel. I don't like that the interrupt is only if used by Abel, but the shuffling a neutral card in opponent's territory is kind of sweet. Back when you could target Lost Souls, it was nice that you could actually target the Lost Souls card, because, you know, if you were rescuing for if you thought you were about to rescue a Lost Soul or you had a pretty sure attack, you wanted to make sure that the Lost Souls card was not available so that you actually, you know, get to bring a Lost Soul over into your land of redemption and not just you know, rescue a half of a liner that would get shuffled later on. So plenty of negates, interrupts here, more drawing with Eli's Sound Advice. And kind of the whole idea was like, you know, it wasn't even running Wheel Within a Wheel to get to auto, but just running the cloud enhancements, try to get down Moses right away. Moses and then also Nazareth. Those combined together can be some, can make for some pretty oppressive board states that your opponent would have a hard time getting around. And then this deck kind of has a, you know, it works just fine with some of the ways that it draws. So her, and you know, Samuel, Angel of the Oak, it's all like in battle speed stuff. All right, let's see. So yeah, I think we might have a game coming soon. Hopefully. Yeah, this looks like kind of a fun style of deck. Let's see. I'll have to close this game in order to spectate their game. All right, so I think we're gonna have James and Luke here in just a moment, maybe, possibly. So Jake, if you're still watching, that means you might have to sign off here. Don't want to get any clues in case you make it to the finals. Yeah. Although I guess since you make it, since the way the Lackey Grand Prix works, you know, normally these games are played a week apart, and sometimes people post them, and you know, some of you guys might have like 2 decks ready for tonight, one for, you know, one for game 1 and one for game 2. All right, what do I have going on defense here? Frog Demons, interesting. I guess I did have Babylon and the Harlot here. So a character that Frog Demons could ban too, and that also can search deck a reserve for a Human King, which I'm sure I've got King Rehoboam in reserve here. Oh yeah. So you can go to reserve for King Rehoboam, ban to the Harlot, and then ban to King Rehoboam, bring him into battle. Kind of like Deceiver, but you know, a little bit easier to do. And Outsider, sure, yeah. And this was back when you could go into the reserve on turn 1 if you needed to, which, like, thinking back at looking back at this deck, I wasn't even thinking about that until like I just, you know, processed it. Like it seems like abnormal to do that. Let's see. Maybe I have to disconnect here from spectating. I think sometimes Lackey, like if you've got an extra spectator in there, doesn't let you join as a player. It doesn't let the right number of players join. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, the other thing with her that you can do is you can choose her to rescue against you. At least you used to be able to back when you didn't, when choosing didn't have to come from your opponent's territory. And then if you have Nazareth, you also get to draw 7 cards because your hand is protected from shuffle, and then it's and draw 7 new cards, not a cost benefit. It's just to do this and that. So if your hand is protected, then you get to draw 7 unless your deck is also protected, but there are very few things that protect only your hand and not your deck. All right, let's do this, and sounds like Luke is not able to join on voice, so we're just going to be, it might be a little bit slower here, so I'm going to have to fill in some time. But they'll just have to use the Lackey chat, go back and forth, which is fine. I was running Guardian in this deck. This was back before there were more choices in dominance. Like, I think Guardian and 3 Woes were like the latest dominance to come out, right around the time that Revelation of John came out. So yeah, you could use King Rehoboam to create a side battle where her was your opponent controlled her, and that would do it. Otherwise, Sarah's Jealousy, you could choose your own her. False Prophet. Yeah, I guess this was kind of back when people were doing mostly, or like a lot of the Simeon Moses stuff with like Angel Under the Oak, where Simeon, the Angel Under the Oak, Band of Moses. I mean, that was way back even before this, but people were still doing it back in 2018. And now you could even do it with where'd it go? This Moses. So yeah, False Prophet was almost created like as a direct counter to that. Like, he's kind of situational otherwise, but I'm running 3 NT sites, so get that benefit pretty much every time he blocks. Can search for something, and I don't know, negate good convertibilities could be relevant against like disciples or something. All right, let's see if these guys are ready to go. Looks like they are. Luke was just getting the little guy settled. He is a new father, so congratulations to him. All right, I believe we've got, yeah, we've got James down here in the bottom left corner, and Luke up here in the top right. And Luke won the die roll, so he gets to choose who goes first. And a reminder to everyone, this is classic, so we might see some scroll cards mixed in with, you know, cards that look like this with the scroll here. Probably not Sarah's Jealousy, because it kind of took a hit with the choose rule, but I'm excited to see what these guys have cooked up. If I were to guess, I would assume that Luke is running some sort of Disciples build, maybe a Disciples of the Lamb combo, and Mega Man Land, or James here, or Card Game Fanatic on Discord, goes by a few different names. So you've got Luke M, he's pretty straightforward. Then we got James over here, he's got 3 different names. Which is fine. But hopefully that won't confuse you guys too much. If I'm talking about Luke, I'm talking about Luke. If I'm talking about anybody else, I'm talking about James. So he is probably playing his Angels and Demons deck that he is more or less known for at this point, mostly more. And we see that he had a star ability Undriven by Spirits, a top deck a demon from deck, which getting that possessing demon early on in the game could be very helpful, especially when he has a Lawless here and he can just take it right away. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what was revealed here. I was going to join as a player so I could look at hands and that kind of stuff, but I think if I'm hopping back and forth between this game and Jay and Jake's game, then I won't be able to. It would just make things more complicated, I guess. So we do see a Crowd's Lost Soul come out of the Lawless. We don't actually see what card he took, but I'm guessing it was probably the Possessing Demon, since he kind of set that up. But I guess we'll find out. He gets a turn here. I believe Luke opted to go first. He didn't have any stars. He did have a Harvest Lost Soul to make a token here for James. All right, Luke puts down a Joshua, which notably not a Disciples card, so I guess it makes sense that if Luke's not playing Joshua, he's playing Throne. Or if he's not playing Disciples, he's playing Throne, which Joshua fits right into. And as well as the old school Isaiah, and he drops a first sacrifice on turn 1 here, negating the Crowd's Lost Soul for the phase at least, and then gets to look at James's hand and underdeck an evil card. Hopefully they put the card on the table so that we can see what it is. So it looks like Luke underdecked Woes. And it looks like he's emptying his hand, probably for Mayhem, if I were to guess. He's also playing Moses. Interesting. With 1 territory class, I could see Moses fitting in nicely with the Throne deck. You just gonna get all of your stuff out of your hand, and play your territory class enhancement and drop Moses, so that your opponent is going to be a little bit slower here on that. And Crowds is negated by both first sacrifice and now by Moses. And I believe Luke was able to get his hand down to... Wow, did he play every single card from his hand before playing the Mayhem? I think he might have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was for sacrifice, and 8 was Mayhem. Wow. That's impressive. He got a fresh 6 cards out of it. Lawless and Undesirables, both of which are negated by Moses. And James gets a random 6 cards from his hand, shuffled away, and then random 6 cards at the top. Storehouse down, Throne down, and now I guess the question is, did Luke draw into, or did he draw into a king to trigger Throne, or, and I guess also Crowd's Choice works to go fetch who he wants to attack with. I'm assuming maybe a Jehoshaphat, although Jehoshaphat might also be in reserve for David to go. Yeah, okay, yep, Jehoshaphat is in the main deck. So I guess the question will be, does he go Jehoshaphat to Moses or to Isaiah? He can ban to both, or either, I guess. Isaiah would give him the protection, but Moses would give him the negate. I guess that settles that. He activates a covenant with death, and really locking down just about everything at this point. Drops his Son of God to rescue Humble, just because he wants to be able to negate characters. I mean, not that James is probably going to trigger Humble here or have few enough cards to trigger Humble, as Luke is now down to 3 cards in hand already again. But oh, okay, he did have David. Wow, on the redraw. He had David, Throne of David, and Covenant with Death on the redraw. That is kind of nuts. So David able to ban to Jehoshaphat and bounces his own Moses, and bans to Isaiah to protect Purple Kings from opponents, cannot be negated. Now, I think it's early on enough in the game where it's probably in James's best interest to try to remove this Isaiah, but it looks like he opts not to and gives up the harvest. He maybe just didn't have a way to get rid of Isaiah permanently, or maybe he's just saving his blocks for later when he might have a better answer for the protection there. And also not giving Luke the extra drawing off of Throne. I mean, Luke is down to now 2 cards in hand, and he's got a Malachite Slave in his territory with a Covenant with Death active. So it means that Luke probably doesn't have a whole lot to block with, and if James can pick up a Lost Soul here, then that would be pretty good for him to at least keep up, kind of answer the turn 1 pressure that Luke is putting on here. The problem, though, is that now that Moses is negated and actually bounced, taken off the table, the Undesirable's Lost Soul is back online. So if James does not have a way to answer that or to negate that, then he might be in a tricky spot here, where of course he still wants to rescue, but it would give up his rescue next turn. And he's already a little bit behind the 8 ball, going second against such a quick start from Luke. Let's see, we've got an Angel of Warning. Not going to do a whole lot against Covenant with Death here. The Expatriator, also not going to do much against Covenant with Death. And a face down artifact. Angel of Warning comes in, good initiative character, especially if the only evil character that Luke is showing here is Malachite Slave, then he will get initiative to play something against Malachite Slave if Luke does happen to have something to play. The last card that we don't know in his hand could be a Haman's Plot or Giving It Trickery, depending on what the rest of Luke's defense looks like here. So he does surrender the Undesirable's Lost Soul, which is a little bit unfortunate for James, but he does make it 1-1 here. Undesirable's Lost Soul in Classic is very strong, and it looks like so far James might be on NT Unity for Lost Souls as well, so it's possible that we could get that, or we could see one of those come down for James, and maybe he can utilize that against Luke as well. But with Covenant with Death and Moses, Luke is going to kind of be able to control whether or not Lost Souls are on when he's attacking a little bit more than the James will be able to here. So it looks like James passes the turn. He put down these 3 cards that he drew and got back down to 8. Well, not necessarily that he drew these 3 cards, but he put back, he was at 8 cards. Because he had 1 extra from the Lawless and then 1 that went back for sacrifice. So he only had to put down 3 to get back to 8. So anyways, let's see, he draws a Humble and a Defiled for Storehouse to go grab Covenant with Adam. And that's a pretty good Throne play. I doubt he deactivates Covenant with Death in order to activate it, but unless he knows that there's a small evil character that he can choose, or just that James has available. But yeah, it looks like he's just going to save it, use it as an enhancement possibly for that negate. He leaves Covenant with Death active, and looks like he is planning to go into battle here. He finds an Angel under the Oak, gets some drawing, replenishes his hand a little bit, and will surely exchange with Joshua in his territory. Putting Sling Stones on Joshua, I mean, it's not an ideal play, but Luke was getting cards out of his hand before he played Mayhem, so I mean, it's definitely good because now Jehoshaphat, just as I'm talking about it, he bounces his Joshua back to his hand, and then he can re-equip Sling Stones to a different hero later on. So let's see, banning to Isaiah. James blocks with a Restless Spirit, so I guess Covenant with Adam might have been good for him, but then Restless Spirit's ability would have gone off. Now, or currently it's being negated by Covenant with Death. So he blocks, asks for initiative. Throne of David does get to trigger before James would get initiative here, so I believe Luke is going to draw one, and he will have the opportunity to play something. Let's see if he has one of the Isaiah OT purple enhancements or battle winners here. The New Covenant is an option. I don't know that actually works on demons, though, now that I think about it. Let's go check it out. Convert an evil human in battle. So against demons, you're kind of out of luck. But Root of Jesse is good. You can bounce the evil character. Looks like he just replays the Sling Stones. Yeah, have that available as a negate that he doesn't have to trigger right away. All right. Looks like Jay and Jake are ready here. Ooh, okay, Sinning Hand, interesting. That is one that cannot be interrupted. At some point here, we'll hop over and see how Jay and Jake's game is going. And yeah, choosing Isaiah is pretty strong here. Luke would have to discard 4 cards from his hand in order to negate that. And otherwise it cannot be interrupted, so Sling Stones would not do anything there. So I'm guessing that he did not have this. Well, actually, he might have had this last turn, but Luke only had 2 cards in hand last turn, and so it would have only been a matter of discarding 1. Now that Luke would have to discard 4, it becomes a much more difficult choice for him. No, actually, it's not even a choice at all. His hand is protected from a store or via storehouse, which he did actually have last turn. So yeah, I guess Sinning Hand would have been a good play last turn as well. Get rid of that pesky protection from Isaiah. But it looks like because of that, Isaiah is going to be out of the game for good unless Luke's packing a Covenant of Prayer. All right, and then Destructive Sin coming down. And the heroes are still protected, so the withdraw portion of this will not work, but he can still place it in a territory. Interestingly, you cannot use Sling Stones in Special Initiative because it's a triggered ability. Special Initiative requires you to play an enhancement from your hand, so you can't use cards like Gamaliel's Speech or placed weapons, or I guess equipped weapons. So after, if they were withdrawn, which they're not because they're protected, Sling Stones would no longer be in battle to discard and negate that. All right, looks like they're kind of figuring that out right now. So I'm guessing James would still want to place Destructive Sin in territory. And looks like he maybe will be giving up Lost Soul here, unless he's got a Swine Stampede, but even then, that is something that Sling Stones would work against, because it would be the last evil enhancement played in battle. It might be worth it to get it out of the way here, rather than just dying by the numbers, but if he has another way to deal with Sling Stones later on, then that would be better for him to just save it. possible that he will be able to, soldier out a little bit here. He's only get drawn 3 so far. And James is asking for dominage here. Let's see if he has something else. Something that can get around the protection. Ooh, I wonder if he's playing Woes. Maybe he does have the Swine Stampede and he's playing his Woes as evil on Slingstones. Yeah, that would definitely make things interesting, because Soul Drought is one of the things that that Luke could definitely, or that James could definitely have something going for him here. So he has Sin and Blasphemy. Oh yeah, there it is. You can play a New Testament Orange Enhancement from reserve, and then each player may draw 1 from bottom of deck. So he plays the Swine Stampede, discarding all evil characters in battle to shuffle all Lost Souls in territory. And I'm guessing he's gonna choose not to draw here, because if he draws a Lost Soul, that would be quite unfortunate for him. Let's see. Yeah, each player may draw 1 from bottom of deck. And Storehouse is protecting Luke's deck, or Luke from being able to draw from Sin and Blasphemy here. So yeah, that was a great block from James here, who he's now down to 3 cards in hand, so his resources are fairly depleted, and he's restricted from rescuing on this turn coming up here. But I would say he's still in a good position here, so this is, I think, going well for, it's fairly even, I guess. I would think. James draws a Lost Soul here, might be a different story, but if he's able to hold off drawing the Lost Souls, that could be clutch for him. Now, part of the problem could be that on Luke's upkeep, he can imitate his harvest, so he might have to figure out a way to deal with that. My guess is 3 Woes is going to land on imitate, or he draws Lost Soul. That's a bummer. Good old Lackey Shuffler, putting the cards you shuffle right back on top. All right, well, we'll check back. We're not going to see a battle in this game here, so let's go hop over to James and Jake's game. Or Jay and Jake's game. Too many J's. I don't know, I'm one of them. Alright, Ministering Spirit coming down, and it cannot be prevented, so Covenant with Death will not stop it for at least a little while. Until it's reactivated. When it uses a draw ability, you may enter deck an evil card and a satisfied. Alright, yep, and he advances the turn. Man, it's hard to look away. But we'll just go quick over to Jay's game. Oh no, they have spectators off. Oh, I can just join as a player. That way I can look at hands here. Alright, we've got the classic Flood matchup here, or Floodiness and Sadducees over here. I'm sure this is Jay's side. And over here we've got Jake and his NT Gold Thieves. It's kind of his forte at this point, or what he tends to play. Let's go see what Jay's got cooking in here. Lots of defense, all right. And let's see. Trying to catch up on everything that's going on here. So it looks like it was Jay's turn. He put down Priest of Zeus. Didn't have an attack here. His heroes got arced by something. I guess I don't get to go back in the chat to see what happened since or before I got here. It's a little unfortunate. wonder if I am able to have both, or like two Lackey clients open at the same time here. This might crash things, so we'll see. Oh wait, oh no, I need to do this. Save profile. All right, we are in business here. Now I can just switch back and forth and see what games are going on in both sides. Let's add a window capture. Another instance of Lackey here. And we want this one. See if we can do both here. I don't know if we can. Because the windows are named the same thing. Oh man, I just messed everything up here. All right. It's going, does it go back and forth between them? Interesting. So I need to figure out how to here we go. Okay. OBS is so smart. Let's do, or is it me that's smart? No, it's OBS. All OBS doing the things for me. All right, so we're gonna be doing something wild here, just switching back and forth between games. So right now, you're currently watching. Should we try to fit both of them on here at the same time? It's gonna make things difficult for you guys to see, and it's probably already difficult. So I'll just switch back and forth moment, or like you know, here and there. So it looks like over. Let's transition over to what Luke and James got going on over here, because it's going down. Luke just dropped Son of God and Second Coming. Brings him up to 3. And let's see. All right, so Luke is deactivating, coming up with Death, activating and Thummim. Get the hand look, because he does have Zadok as the High Priest. Coincidentally, Jay is also looking at Jake's hand with oh no, it switched back. Wait. Oh, there we go. This is. Hopefully you guys can follow what's going on here. I'm a little confused, but we're trying out a new thing. It's kind of fun. Hey, man, what's up? We are watching 2 games at the same time here. We've got, currently on stream, we've got Jay and Jake. Jay is attacking with Ham's wife. The score right now is 0-0. Defensive game for sure. We've got Jay coming in with plunders. Or Jake coming in with plunders and Mocking Thief. Mocking Thief taking Stricken from Jay's deck. I believe Woes is negating Storehouse. And now it is up to Jay to see if he can make something happen here, but it looks like with blunders, he decided not to use any of his enhancements here because, yeah, they would be prevented, and that would be a lot to commit, especially after looking at Jake's hand. He had a Anthropophobia to negate the good enhancement that he plays, that he actually gets through with blunders. So yeah, be a pretty rough go for Jay there if he tried to do something. So it was a good block for Jake. It really seems to be in control of the game, even though it is 0-0. Let's see if he's got any good rescue options here, because his hand is chock full of defense. I believe Watchful Servant does still get the draw 3, but drawing is risky with the Priest of Zeus in the opponent's territory. Let's see if he has anything in discard that Mace can go for. Doesn't look like it. Let's see. Looks like he goes to get Faith of Gideon from his reserve because of something. Oh, good seed. Yep. So maybe he'll get to make a side battle and make something happen here. I don't know. All right. Well, while he's thinking, we'll hop back over to Luke and James here, see what they've got going on. Looks like Luke is coming in with an enormous band. Jehoshaphat to David to Ishmael. David's got Slingstones, Ishmael the draw 3, Zadok with an activating Book of the Covenant to take the Isaiah New Covenant, which, as we discussed, isn't going to do a whole lot of good for Luke here against the demon defense that James is running here. Zadok is CBI, Ishmael is negatable. So Zadok is going to go back. Moses is going to, yeah, he's negating Ishmael's band and Jehoshaphat's band. So that would also kick David out of the battle, which doesn't feel like the best, but he's still got a pretty decent number. All right, Jake is still thinking about his rescue. I think he's, oh, maybe not. I think he passed the turn. Oh, he went out with Watchful Servant, and Jay blocked with Priest of Zeus, I believe. Played Falling Away after giving up a soul. Oh, actually, apparently Jake had a way to take Priest of Zeus, as Priest of Zeus is now on his side of the equation here. So how did Priest of Zeus get taken? That's the question. Well, I'm gonna be figuring that out all night if I try to do that now. It looks like Jay just put down a few artifacts and upped his Noah's Ark heroes that he's got chilling over there. Let's see if James can manage a block here. It is currently 3-1 in Luke's favor. So getting a block here would be pretty good. He blocks with Sordid Spirit, places it on the throne. Seems like a good option there. Negate that. And goes to his deck to find a Gospel Demon. Not sure which Gospel Demon would be best for him in this scenario. I'm not too familiar with the Gospel Demons, but I guess Big Bubby seems to be a decent option. Maybe he's got a big demon that he can ban to and maybe can challenge the numbers here. It's an 11-11. There aren't any orange cards placed on heroes that he can banish. So it looks like he's just going to take a demon from his deck. And he just searches for the Deceiver. Wonder if he has a way to ban the Deceiver in, or if he's just trying to set up a block for next turn, kind of out of desperation. He is only at 5 cards in hand, so it does make that difficult. Yes, for initiative, so he's probably got something here. Maybe a Grapes, that would be kind of cool. Nope, he was just bluffing. Try to draw out an Angel of the Lord, but Luke does not take the bait if he does have Angel, and does not. He gets Lost Soul number 4, so hopefully James was able to pick up a way to block next turn. Really he needs to not draw a Lost Soul, though. That would be the ideal scenario for him. Let's see what Jay and Jake got going on here. Looks like Bartimaeus is coming in. He's taking Talitha Kum from his reserve. And Jay has an Anansi Elder that he could have blocked with. Oh, that's his discard pile, actually. Jay had a High Priest Ananias that he could have tried to block with, but I think just all of the banding that the banding that Jake would have been able to do with Talitha Kum, maybe just not worth it in Jay's mind. He would have stopped him from playing Faith of Gideon and Lost Coin Found, though. So if he had a way to stop Talitha Kum, either through negating the banding, there's a possibility. But so Jake kind of takes the aggressive move here of rescuing the last Lost Soul available before it goes away. It's a little bit of a more aggressive than he might want to be. It's dangerous to play your Son of God early against decks like this because they have ways to banish it from your discard pile. But maybe Luke has, or maybe I'm just getting all the names mixed up. Maybe Jake has something up his sleeve to work around that. Jay does not draw another Lost Soul. He is able to get his Japheth and his Noah's wife back from Noah's Ark, which gives him Faith Among Corruption and the Rainbow back from his discard pile. So good value there. And Joseph Silver Cup here, you can maybe hopefully put some more Lost Souls down at the bottom here to hold off of the really great board advantage that Jake seems to have going on here. So these are the options that that Jay has with Cup. He takes Shem's wife and does bury Lost Soul. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, with Faith Among Corruption and the Rainbow, he might have a solid chance at blocking here. But with Storehouse negated, Thieves can be very rude. Although, okay, Japheth's wife coming down to negate Plunderers, and Shem's wife coming down to negate the Thief. With Noah's wife, she's able to negate stuff as they are, as cards are put down. So Jay plays Son of God to rescue orphans. It's a play that makes sense. His deck is not a huge fan of that Lost Soul. He's still got a Thorns in the way of a lot of his soul manipulation, but let's see. All right, not sure what the exact sequence of events there was without actually hearing them. So Den of Thieves got bounced somehow. Not entirely sure how. And then something happened to Noah's wife. I'm gonna ask here. Oh boy, it looks like we've got a big attack coming in from James. Okay, so when Jay played Son of God, Jake was able to use Kingdoms to underdeck a hero. So he targeted Noah's wife, who now went to set aside, which turns off her ability to negate. So Faith Among Corruption goes down, Egypt goes down. I believe he looks like he chooses not to do the search on Egypt. Something may be, doesn't look like his neutrals are negated. But anyway, let's hop over to see what just happened here with Jake and with James and Luke. Looks like James picked up a lost soul here. He did a big ban with Gabriel, Expatriator, and Legion of Angels with Angel Sword. What a trio that is. Okay, yeah, with Covenant with Death down, James kind of had an opportunity to let loose a little bit. He had Angelic Guidance. Put down Golgotha to get Afflicting Spirit. Attacked, negated Malachite's Slave. Get a draw 3 off of Legion of Angels. And did not draw a Lost Soul, so that was a pretty good sequence of events for James there. He passed the turn. Luke shows us an Emmaus Road using the star ability to look at James's hand. Right, got a battle going on with James, Jake, and Jay. See, not only did they all start with J, but they literally start with the sound J. So, Jake, James, Jay. Of course, I'm Jaden, but I mean, could have at least had like a Josh or a John or something in here, hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So Jake with the big block here, Highwayman only gets to draw 1. Plunderers with the prevent, and then also ban to Condemned Thief gets to look at Jay's hand, take an enhancement, which Jay's got plenty of ammo here, so it's going to be a tough choice for Jake to decide. But Jake's got pretty decent amount of ammo here. He's got at least 2 interrupts and a gate. So yeah, lots of stuff there. All right, so it looks like Luke did in his upkeep imitate Harvest, which I'm curious what Woes is sitting on for. Oh, sure, yeah, Woes has to be on Moses for James there, which is actually coincidentally what negates his or allows his imitate to work on his Harvest. Luke puts down a Nazareth, stacking up those negates. Or not those counters. It looks like Jay dropped the rainbow here to negate and discard the thief and get his flood back. And now the flood is coming down. And that does give special initiative to Jake. So let's see what he does here. Yeah, so right now they are playing without audio, able to talk to each other, at least briefly, which means that they are using the Lackey chat, which means that if I'm looking at somebody's hand, then the other person will get to see what they drew. So I'm going to hide their hands for now. But looks like anthropophobia came down in special initiative to negate the flood. Abraham's Descendant came down in regular initiative to negate and take anthropophobia, which is actually kind of funny because now Jay can use that. And hurling insults comes down to do something. Where did hurling insults come down? Oh, I guess, yeah, because he went back into special initiative because of flood. So yeah, hurling insults, doing that. And then seized by Babylon coming down to in his last ditch effort of special initiative here, but the flood or faith among corruption is the last piece that Jay needed here in order for the flood to go off. And it looks like it is going to, taking out kingdoms, 3 woes, and all of Jake's defense, which it was looking like things were going well in Jake's favor here, but Jay might have turned things around. That is now 2-2, each of them having played Son of God, neither of them having played Second Coming. So that is, and that's a lot of Jake's defense right there, blown away by the flood, or just washed away by the flood. All right, looks like we got a battle coming in from Luke here, attacking James. How are you guys doing? You guys confused yet? All these games going on. Let's see. I gotta pull it up for myself here. There we go. And Luke coming in with David, banning to Joshua. It looks like he reactivated Covenant with Death, turning off Moses, turning off Possessing Spirit, and also Ministering Spirit. So he can draw with impunity. Bans to Joshua to underdeck the Great White Throne that James had active. Sorry, if everyone's able to stick around for the final match here tonight, we'll be able to watch that and commentate without moving back and forth between games. So it looks like we got David to Jehoshaphat to Jeremiah, which is interesting here as Jeremiah is negated by Covenant with Death, but still, a strong hero, at least numbers wise. Ooh, and James, it looks like, does not have a block. Yeah, Afflicting Spirit, not doing anything there. James gets up to 2, or he ends up at 2, and Luke gets up to 5. And yeah, a lot of James's issues here, I think, stemming from Covenant with Death, and of course the monster opening hand that Luke had, just being able to dump his entire hand and then drop that mayhem. His deck was not quite prepared for Covenant with Death, as he's saying. Can't deal with it because it's neutral. A lot of his heroes, deal with evil cards, Gabriel, Expatriator. So neutral cards are a little bit more difficult to deal with, especially ones that cannot be negated, can't be hit by 3 woes, which is really what makes Covenant with Death the strong counter that it is. All right, so I guess that game is over. If Luke's able to stick around for playing the winner of Jay and Jake here. That would be very cool. We can get Lackey Grand Prix number 8 out of on the books here. All right. So yeah, we've got really these guys are all kind of have different circumstances going on that make playing tonight a little bit challenging. And Jake's wife is on her way back from Brazil, I guess, just getting on the plane to head back here after a while of being gone, and so that's part of the reason we wanted to get the game in tonight, because she comes back in tomorrow night, and Jake wasn't sure if he'd have time to play before we want to get the games in here. So apparently James has a busy weekend, had to get it in tonight, and Luke's got baby that he's dealing with here, but it seems like it's coming together. So applause to all these guys to for getting this all put together tonight and making it work. I guess John had to step out, but Luke was able to sub in, which is good. E-Man, the title belt is not with me, unfortunately. I'm at my brother's house, and I know it's a shocker, but I decided not to bring it with me. Not really any reason to. All right, so we've got a Teaching in Parables from Jake, and negating Storehouse that was previously negated by Woes, but Woes is no longer around to negate it. And should have just looked more closely at what Jay had in hand here. We saw a High Priest Ananias, Malchus, I believe it was the Chief Priests, and Surreptitious Scheme were his defensive cards, other than Tenants Kill the Sun, which is now in his reserve, thanks to Teaching in Parables. Den of Thieves coming back down, got spared from the flood. Not sure exactly how it got bounced. No, probably Shem's wife. Yeah, I guess Shem's wife made the attack. Or no, when she came into play, she can bounce an evil card. So she bounced Den of Thieves. So yeah, that was, Jay had both Den of Thieves and Kingdoms to deal with based on if he was going to play Son of God when he did. So I think he was just kind of biting the bullet, taking one of them out, and then dropping the Son of God while he could to do that. Joey, you're making it really difficult to sit here. I can't really support you. You're gonna fall off. All right, so that's the Jake comes in with Watchful Servant, draws 3, bans 2 Jairus' daughter, and sends her to top of deck in order to toss the next evil enhancement played. And Jay comes in with Chief Priests. I believe he surged. No, he did not surge. He drew 1 and withdrew and added Malchus. Malchus captured and added Super Scribes from reserve to exchange something for unsuccessful. He puts Anthropophobia into Jake's reserve because that's how reserves work. They go back to, or if you put an opponent's card into your reserve, it goes to the reserve of the owner's card. All right, so yeah, that's unfortunate for Jay there. It's just sequence of events was difficult. He was tossing. He had to toss the first, so he tossed a Surreptitious Scheme, and then he would have had initiative to play unsuccessful, but Jake made a wise play here of reserving Jairus' daughter off the top in order to activate Herod's Temple, and then toss all enhancements played in that battle. This is like a quad workout I've got going on here, but keeping Jovi on my lap. All right. Ooh, Jake has Falling Away played. I guess that was something I didn't consider before, is that Jay has also played Falling Away. So now with both Falling Away down for both players and Son of God down for both players, Jake is ahead 3-1. So Jay, still has a lot of the offensive advantage, just because he's got, or Jake lost a lot of his defense, but these dual alignment characters that Jake is able to squeeze in, plus the fact that he's playing a 57 card deck, make it make his defense pretty resilient. You can see he's got 3 dual alignment characters here that he's able to play as evil, and his clear tech card for the flood, or for arc really, is Rebel and Dust here to take out Jay's arc. And then he advances the turn to Jay. Jay draws a couple lost souls here, which is not really what he wants to see. And Jake is back up to 8 cards in hand, which I suppose the Watchful Servant can have helped out with. And Jay's able to use Storehouse now in his upkeep. See what he's got in his reserve. Ooh, he's got a Moses in reserve. Interesting. I know that Jay doesn't really use his reserve in Flood too much. A lot of the best Flood cards came out, or I guess kind of the base of the Flood offense came out in Cloud of Witnesses, which was before reserve was a thing. But let's see, he's able to take Behemoth with Storehouse. He has Offering Your Son to play, and gets the arc right back here by grabbing Pitching Gopherwood and activating it to search discard pile for it. And ooh, but Jake does have a Zacchaeus in territory, which is negating Offering Your Son. So I believe that actually it will, that Offering Your Son won't work to go get pitch. That should be shuffled back into his deck. Let's see. So I think let's see what Jake's got going on in his reserve. Okay, so yeah, Offering Your Son's coming back. They're yeah, like just because they're both of their attention is a little bit divided and they're not on voice chat. Jake's being a little gracious. Jay's taking Offering Your Son back to his hand, and yeah, Pitching Gopherwood goes back to his deck, and Joe's Silver Cup is back to active. No Noah's Ark. Faith of Noah comes out from the deck here. And let's see. All right, we got Japheth's wife coming in. And just shuffle a deck. And she's a 3/5. The Shamed Woman blocking. She can take an New Testament artifact or comes in enhancement from reserve. So Jake takes Ambush from reserve. So yeah, his options were either Ambush or Peter's Curse. I can understand why Ambush would be the go-to here, even though Shamed Woman is not a thief, so it doesn't get the benefit of CBN. Well, Left 4 Dead also has to be used by a thief. So he does not get to take from his reserve. I can take Anthropophobia. But he does still get to discard a hero in battle, and it cannot be negated by a multi-brigade card. So I wonder if Jay... Oh, of course, yeah, he has a single brigade negate here with Behemoth. Just took it with Storehouse, and Behemoth can negate Left 4 Dead. Puts Jake at 4/3. She's still not a thief. So Stricken, yeah, cannot be played there off of Den of Thieves. So instead, yeah, plays Ambush. Banding in, you can take Temple Thieves from his reserve and band to it to negate Behemoth that way. And let's see what he decides to do here. He could band in Zacchaeus as well, and I get a draw 3. You can ban 2 characters that are held by fortresses, but you can't block with them directly. So yeah, I mean, he might want to just leave a thief there in Den of Thieves, though he's got 15 cards left in deck, so the drawing could be beneficial, but okay, yeah, he opts to go for it. So Temple Thieves coming in, presumably he negates Behemoth. Take an artifact or animal from opponent. If only Behemoth was played as a character, he could just take it. But instead he can take the Joe's Cup. And wonder what he chose to negate. As soon as he negates Behemoth, then he's going to be back into Special Initiative because of Left 4 Dead. So if I were him, I would have probably activated the other evil characters first. And yeah, it looks like maybe that's what he's doing. He's taking an artifact with Judas, taking his Book of the Covenant, and then looks like he's drawing 3 with Zacchaeus. And good to note that Zacchaeus is not limited, so if you've got more than 3 thieves, you can draw more than 3 cards. And that was enough to take out Japheth's wife. Made Jake go through a decent number of resources there, but he was able to kind of replenish with all the searching and the drawing that he did, so. Let's see. It looks like it's the end of Jay's turn here. He's probably trying to just figure out what to do. Oops. He can play his dominance now, kind of in for free, I guess, without having to pay the cost on Den of Thieves because it's empty. But looks like he just passes the turn. Jake draws 3. Up to 15 cards in hand. gotta believe he's pretty close to second coming if he doesn't have it already, which means that we could be in the last turn of the game here. It is possible. So if I could look at Jay's hand, see what kind of defense he's packing. He's got 7 cards, and he's had to spend a decent amount of defense, but not a whole lot, so I don't know. All right. So it looks like Jerusalem was activated. He reserved a random card from his deck, which was Faithful Servant, and took Jairus' daughter. Get that toss, which since Jay is kind of low on resources, having a toss ability here is quite good for him. He does still have... oh, maybe Jairus was in his hand earlier. I thought I saw a Jairus somewhere. Oh, maybe it's in his discard. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Jairus is in discard. So definitely makes the daughter not quite as strong, especially with Watchful Servant already with the 2/2 decrease on him. So, you know, if he does do the Watchful Servant banded to Jairus' daughter, then Watchful Servant, you know, all he's got to do is toss a enhancement with strength of 2. But it also means that Watchful Servant is a 3/2 and likely to get initiative here. So if he's got a battle winner and he's tossing the first, then it's going to be a pretty strong combination for Jake here. So yep, he does ban Jairus' daughter, reserve the top. If it's going to be tough for Jay to get initiative here. I'm not sure if there are any characters that Jay plays that would get initiative or allow him to play first. But Chief Priest is coming out, drawing a card, and High Priest Ananias for the block. And here comes the Restoring Inflicted, or Restoring the Afflicted, and with the first enhancement being tossed, there's no way that Jay is going to be able to answer that. It looks like he gives Jake number 4. And do we see a second coming here? There are 7 cards left in Jake's deck, so it's possible that he's not quite there yet, and looks like that is the case. So Jay might have another opportunity to at least make one rescue here. Sitting at 1 and already having played Son of God, his odds are pretty low here, especially with the drawing that Jake will be able to do on the block here, unless Jay has some sort of way to negate evil characters, or a new beginning. It's a risky play, but it's one that it looks like Jay has to make here. Definitely make things interesting. All right. So Joe's got the Rainbow and Stricken all going back to Jay's deck. And don't think anything is going to stick around here. Yes, the new beginning negates protect abilities, so the Lost Souls still get shuffled, even through Thorns. And really Jay's hope here is to not draw a Lost Soul. And it looks like that is not going to work out for him exactly. The interesting, or I think an interesting play that Jay could have made here, and maybe he did, and maybe, okay, it doesn't look like it, but he could have played a new beginning in his upkeep after his draw phase so that he would draw fewer cards. And, ooh, wow, okay, drawing 3 Lost Souls worked out really well for Jay right there, because he also drew into the Burial, and of course it being his turn, he was able to have dominant initiative, and let's see, when did the Lost Souls come back out? Oh, I see, because Malchus was still in, or Jake shuffled Jay's Malchus into his deck and redrew it, so he was shuffling it back in, and then the Lost Souls are still going back on the bottom. So right, well, they certainly are keeping the game interesting here. Offering Your Son is going to work this time, which means that Pitch and Go for Wood is also going to work and get Noah's Ark back from Jay's discard pile. And here's a Jfeth. Jay can look at the top two. We'll see if he spies an evil character, a lost soul here that he can put on the bottom. We'll see what he's got. Okay, grabs a storehouse and an Egypt. All right. And that one goes to bottom. And Japheth coming in, protecting lost souls. It's not really an issue, I don't think, for Jake's deck. He's not really playing any of the lost soul protection, as far as I know. He does have a Deceiver, which is a great draw for him here. It's got options. We'll see if he's got the enhancements to back it up. And if Jay is able to pull this off, that would be one of the greatest comebacks, at least on my channel in recorded history, possibly in Redemption history altogether. There have been some pretty good comebacks that I've heard legends of, but probably not enough to be able to recount them here, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, A New Beginning is kind of like the comeback card, so that's very appropriate for a flood deck. As part of the fun and the power of a flood deck is can kind of come out of nowhere with something like that. So it looks like Jake is exchanging for Judas here, just getting some incremental value, searching for You Will Remain. It looks like he is losing the battle, so I'm guessing he's got something he can play here. No good dominance. So it is Jake's initiative for sure, unless Jay's got some evil dominant that would do something, but he's got a wages, so he's going to be able to go to his reserve for Anthropophobia or grab something from his deck. Looks like he's going to his deck. And let's see how many dominants that Jay has gone through here. So Burial, Son of God, Falling Away, Crowd's Choice, and New Beginning. So that's what, 5? So he's got 2 dominants left, probably a Woes and something else. He did have a negate. Looks like Jake was searching for wages and tried to use it to discard Japheth, or searching with wages, searching for the thief. And Jay's got the Covenant with Noah to back it up. So Jay is the comeback is beginning. He still has to rescue 3 more lost souls, one of which he can do with the Second Coming. Surely his 7th dominant after 3 woes. Surely those 2 are the last ones remaining, I would expect, at least. And puts down a Deceiver and a Shield, which is interesting. Means that he probably doesn't have a black evil character, one of his Sadducees or anything. Otherwise, they would probably go down instead of Shield. But Shield is great protection against Soul Gen. Most Soul Gen searches for a lost soul from, or your opponent searching your deck for a lost soul or something like that. And so Shield is usually able to respond by shuffling the lost soul or underdecking the lost soul. And Jay also has Storehouse, which is going to make it difficult for Jake to generate anything here. Okay, so it looks like Jay takes the opportunity to play his Second Coming and Son of God to rescue Thorns, which, yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, I understand why he wanted to wait there, because, if Jake had drawn something like a Harvest Lost Soul, he would have wanted to take that or negate that right away. Let's see what Lost Souls Jay has rescued so far. looks like Orphans was the lost soul that Jake played Falling Away on, and so that's going to be somewhere back in Jake's deck there. Alright, so Den of Thieves came down, not occupied, which means that Jake probably doesn't have enough evil characters to commit to occupying and also trying to get a block, so he still gets the value of the Lone Thief blocks, taking an NT Crimson card from reserve, which could be Peter's Curse at this point. This is the last one remaining. Book of the Covenant comes up, activating You Will Remain. He notably did not take Covenant of Prayer from his reserve when he could have, but I think he wants to keep that a secret in case in case confusion or dubious doubters or something, that Jay pulls out something sneaky there. So Bartimaeus comes in. He can't reserve the top card of Jay's deck, unfortunately, due to the protection on Storehouse. Otherwise, that would be a great way to potentially generate a Lost Soul, as it does look like there were at least, oh wow, there was at least one Lost Soul in Jay's top 3, so reserving the top might have hit one. Storehouse was protecting it. He did so reveal Grapes of Wrath to take Teaching in Parables from his discard pile, so that next turn he could potentially use that to negate something. Looks like Jake did not draw back into, or did not draw into Second Coming here. He's got 21 cards left in his deck now. He had a pretty stacked territory, so it put a lot of cards back between him and Second Coming. Or at least it had the potential to do so. And Jay is now able to move Pitch and Gopherwood to Noah's Ark, activate Joe's Silver Cup, get a little bit of selection here, so we'll see what he takes and what his options are. Plotting Priest seems like a good option, but he does go with the Stricken. Okay, he's got a, I don't know, it seems risky, I guess. Jay obviously knows this deck way better than I do, but I think I personally would have gone with the Plotting Priest there. I guess the problem with Plotting Priest is that putting Plotting Priest in territory would mean turning off your Unity for Sheol, because he already has Deceiver down in territory. But if he was able to have both, then he would be able to underdeck 2 Lost Souls off of 1 search. Unfortunately, he's got 3. Jake definitely does have to do at least 1 more search this game with Second Coming, unless he's able to rescue Lost Soul naturally. And perhaps that's what Jay is trying to do his best to prevent by taking Stricken there. Looks like Jay finds Noah and able to exchange his Silver Cup with a couple more Flood Survivors so that he can dig a little bit deeper with Japheth. Japheth looks and finds the Rainbow. Which it's interesting now that the Rainbow is coming back, because when Jay played it initially, Jake got to take it with Plunderers. He kept it out of each player's discard pile, and so after a new beginning, the Rainbow was shuffled back into Jay's deck. So I guess you gotta be careful with. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, you gotta be careful with whether or not you're taking cards against Flood or just letting them go to discard. So Jake makes a play here that he pretty much knows he has to make in order to do some searching with his block. And he plays Angel of the Lord to take out the only evil character that Jay had in territory. That way he turned off the Unity for Sheol, so that he could do some searching and not trigger what's it called, Sheol, and he's able to go to the Thief. Yeah, there's a bug in here. One of those disgusting little brown box elder bug things. So yeah, Jake can't use the thief to exchange for her. So the thief has to go to someone else, see if he's got any thieves left in there. Suppose the Zacchaeus is for sure left in there. Guess we'll just leave that bug there. He's just chilling. He's fine. One of the dogs will eat him at some point, I'm sure. Alright, so now Zacchaeus coming down. We'll see if Jake has anything other than his reserve to rely on for evil cards here. He draws one card, and we'll see if it's the right one. If it's Second Coming, that would definitely be something. Oh, sure, yep, Den of Thieves allows him to take Peter's Curse from his reserve. Unfortunately, he can't take an Old Testament enhancement, so Scatter does not work. But it looks like Jay is playing Three Woes either way to negate Den of Thieves. I think what would have been interesting there is if right after Jake had taken Peter's Curse from his reserve, if he asked for Dominish, that would make Jay think that he drew Second Coming off of Zacchaeus, and Jay would need to negate Zacchaeus with Three Woes and allow his Den of Thieves to resolve. But looks like Jake did not have anything else there to defend with, and so Zacchaeus goes down, and Jay picks up Lost Soul number 3, or Lost Soul number 4? Picks up Lost Soul number 4. Oh, right, yeah, because he played Son of God in Second Coming, or he played Second Coming to get a Son of God back. Okay, so Jake drew 3, did not draw Lost Soul, seemingly did not draw Second Coming either. Uses Good Seed to take Anthropophobia from his reserve. Yeah, it's like that, and Covenant Prayer were his only options. He could draw one off Book of the Covenant here, but he's, you know, he's more likely to draw Lost Souls than he is to draw Second Coming off of that. So I can understand why he didn't want to. Let's see, is there a Shem around in order? Well, I think Jake is actually playing NT Unity Lost Souls, so Shem's wife doesn't even work for him. Oh, actually, no, he's not, because he's playing you know, Orphans and Thorns. That's right. Ooh. So all Jake had to do was push a hero out into battle. Really, Deceiver was his last option there to block. And Angel of the Lord was able to do it. I told him he should have taken Plotting Priest. And by told him, I mean I told you guys. I didn't actually tell him. Don't worry. That was yeah, that was kind of a crazy ending to a game that you thought might have been done a few turns ago, but yeah, Jake had what it took. I'll hop in the voice chat with them here. Let's see if you guys can join. Uh-oh. Hold on. I guess I don't need to have OBS listening to you guys right now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. You sent me your deck list earlier, and I noticed that you were packing the Rebel and Dust, but I did not notice the number of dominants. So I mean, we're still on the stream, so I can explain what's going on. Luke won.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. Now people can actually hear you. So I guess to explain the situation, everybody, what's going on, we realized after the game now that Jake had accidentally put 9 dominants into his deck. Got really, really cheeky trying to get that Rebel and Dust in there.
That was a mistake. Good grief.
And so we played, but I mean, it was still a really good game. So hopefully, people enjoyed it despite all of the, or despite that. But yeah, I guess I think the most fair thing to do in this case, unfortunately, would be to disqualify Jake and
100%.
move Jay on to the final game here.
That feels weird, everyone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel horrible. Like, oh man, I was messing around with my deck today.
I think I'm the first
deck checking for Lackey Grand Prix.
Yeah, I sent Jade to my deck. It's his. I'm just kidding.
Yep, I should have counted. I didn't think.
No, it's not your fault at all. Obviously,
so I think I'm the first person to win a game in the Lackey Grand Prix because of disqualification.
That is probably true.
John won against me 5-0 the first round, but he conceded because he misplayed. He played through negates when he shouldn't have. So there was that.
That does count, I guess. So, okay, I guess I'm playing Luke.
Yep, that
good game. Have fun.
Is the case. Part of me feels like Jake just wanted to hang around and watch the game, instead of having to play another one.
Oh man, I feel so bad.
You should, because you earned that win.
Yeah. Good grief.
So you still had grapes in your hand at the end there?
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, because you showed it with Bartimaeus. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he showed it, I realized he only had 8 down, or I realized he didn't have Second Coming, and then he has Second Coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, can I get on playing Jade or Luke now?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna add him to this chat here. See if he joins in.
Well, good game, everybody. Thank you. That was awesome. And I feel so bad that I had the call in the middle because that was stressing me out. But thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for.
You earned this seat in the finals.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure,
I'll catch y'all later
next time.
Definitely. See ya.
Luke might not be able to join on voice because his kid is sound asleep from the sound of it.
Oh me. I'm gonna have to bull crap together a school assignment post game.
So that's why you wanted to give it up. That's why you threw the game, right? So unfortunately, yeah, I forgot that when one player's looking at someone else's hand, and you get to see, or all players get to see what they drew. For some reason, that seems really strange to me.
We need a new client.
Yeah. So in the past, what we had done is if you're on voice chat, just kind of hide the chat window. But unfortunately, since Luke only is able to type this evening that that will not be a possibility. Let's see. All right, I can get rid of one Lackey window. All right, so Luke's going to be on in a couple minutes, so I guess that just means we get a post-game interview with you here, Jay. But how are you feeling going into the game, and kind of how did it
Well, I
play out?
just won via DQ, so I feel weird.
Okay, going into the game, what was your mindset, or kind of
Oh
what did
Lord,
you
I knew he
expect
was
from
going to
Jay?
tech for me. I was expecting Thorns, Orphans, and Harvest Time, not Rebel and Dust. So
That's fair. I think, yeah, he did send me his deck list earlier today, just kind of saying like, yeah, I think I'm gonna tech for it just in case he's playing it. I didn't give away, you know, whether or not I thought you were playing it since you had told me that you were thinking about it.
I was thinking about it. I
yeah.
mean, I wish I'd played something else.
Sure.
Even though, like, because I mean, like, you're interviewing me about a game I just lost. So,
Yeah.
and now I'm advancing to the final. So this is weird.
I mean, you know, sometimes getting the loser's perspective is, you know, helpful too. Did you feel like you made any misplays, or just kind of?
No, I mean, I think I played perfectly as well as I could.
Yeah, based
Like,
on the information you had. Yep.
based on the
that.
information that I had, I mean, I could have took the plotting priest on that last J path.
That was the one thing that I was expecting you to take the plotting priests, but
So I wasn't expecting him to angel a deceiver in territory.
Right.
When my shield wouldn't have even been active. So
yeah, that was the thing that I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it makes sense since he doesn't have
because shield was
shield
negated or
active.
shield was protected with J path.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if I guess I didn't mention this, but kind of looking back, I could have seen you put down plotting priest and then go with Noah, shuffle away your deceiver. But you know that would have definitely been a risky play, because then you're kind of locked into having to block with plotting priests, and of course he's got the angel anyway. But yeah, definitely interesting decisions to have to make at the end there, and you certainly kept it interesting with the new beginning.
If that a new beginning had showed up precisely one turn quicker, I think I would have won the game legitimately. After flooding him, like, and then the way that a new beginning, like, I mean, that a new beginning not showing up for the entire game. And there was one turn where I didn't take Second Coming or Woes off of a Joe's Cup.
Okay.
And maybe if I took it and then went to a new beginning a turn or two, I could have maybe got the legit win that way. But it would have been difficult. I mean, there was a turn I didn't block to and just gave up a soul. And I'm wondering if I should have blocked that turn.
Oh, sure. Do you
But
have a potential block that you thought would have gotten answered?
I had like chief priests and stuff. I should have at least tried.
Sure. Yeah, I think let's see. Yeah, when after you played the new beginning and drew 3 lost souls, I was like, oh, Jay might be in trouble here. And then you dropped the burial, and I was like, oh, that worked out really well.
I should have took another turn. Or I shouldn't have dropped it immediately. I should have searched for the arc, and then I would have just legit won the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose you can kind of wait until they ask for Dominish. So, all right. So it looks like Luke is ready to go. So I'm gonna drop off the call here. And good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Lackey Grand Prix number 8, the classic one, the final game against Luke Marshall, who didn't actually make the top cut, based on the way that you know the forfeitures throughout the Swiss games worked out. Didn't really work out in his favor, and you know, that made him as the 5th player, just barely missing top cut by lost soul differential. And now we have Jay Chambers, or I guess Luke is only playing because John turned out not to be available tonight, and he was willing to give up his spot to Luke. So Luke kind of hopped from the 5th seed to the 3rd seed, which I guess maybe we could have rearranged that a little bit, but here we are. So that's Luke, and then Jay we have in here, who lost the game that he played by all accounts, except for the fact that Jake accidentally had a 9th dominant in his deck, playing a 57 card deck with only 8 lost souls. So his deck was illegal, and unfortunately, he had to be disqualified after the game, which feels a little weird, a little rough for him, of course. But he was, he totally understood, how it happened. He was messing around with his deck today, switching things out to tech for the flood, and I think he teched too hard, I guess. So, all right. So we've got Jay up here going first in the top right corner, and Luke over here in the bottom left. And let's go see what we can peek at here. We can at least peek at the reserves, because cards don't go to there. We already know pretty much what's in Jay's reserve, because we got to see that last game. We didn't look much at Luke's reserve because, or actually at all at Luke's reserve, because I was just a spectator in the last game. So, star ability on. Okay, so I guess Luke did have a star. Oh, okay, so Jay went first. He did not have a hero, or at least not an attack. I'm confused. All right, so Jay went first. No stars from either of them. We had a okay, so Lawless, yep, that was revealed. Undesirables came out. And okay, so then Jay went Shield, Bruce and Ice, no attack. So he passed the turn. Jay had Luke had the star and delivered. Oh, okay, that's what I was confused about. I saw Shem's wife, but I was like, oh, Jay didn't have a hero, so maybe he did. Shem's wife was on the top of Jay's deck and got discarded by delivered. And so now Luke kind of has to do a little dance here to try to play around this shield if he wants to have a lost soul to go after this turn. So it looks like he's thinking. So Jeremiah down for sacrifice being played. All right. Apparently Luke was watching the stream here, didn't catch the stream. What's the word I'm looking for? The stream, not like courtesy, but procedure, I guess, or I don't know, the unwritten rules of streaming. Luke's looking at Jay's hand here. I want to go look at Jay's hand here. So I want to see what he's got too. He's got a Deceiver that gets underdecked. I mean, is a target that first sacrifice can be used for. I don't need these headphones anymore. Oh, now my sound all funny. So Deceiver going under. And we have a Japheth, Book of the Covenant, Noah's Wife, 3 Woes, and Second Coming. Lots of, well, not lots of offense, but it's interesting that Jay, he had a hero, at least one, but no attack from him. And who knows if Luke had any defense. Definitely had undesirables, which is kind of like defense. So since Jay didn't have any way to negate that, I guess he did have 3 woes. So, interesting. Maybe didn't want to use it that early. He's got the cross, stopping that 3 woes from doing anything now. So maybe it would have worked out for him. But yeah, Luke's putting down a bunch of heroes, and if he didn't have an evil character there, then that would have made things pretty good for Jay there if he had made an attack. But looks like Luke's coming in with Abigail, getting a draw 2, able to ban to David, and David will ban to Jehoshaphat, who I'm sure will go to Jeremiah, get another look at Jay's hand that he doesn't really need. And yeah, bouncing High Priest Ananias, good play, takes him off the Sheol Unity. And then to Jeremiah, gets to do another look, and he's tossing the next evil. Of course, it's not going to do anything here because Jay didn't have any evil enhancements to play. So all right. Let's see what else Luke's got here in discard phase. Nothing. Now he has the opportunity to search with impunity, but no searching going on there. No territorial class enhancements, so he passes the turn. Jay draws. It appears that there were no lost souls to be seen. This microphone is covering my face a little too much. My bad. Got some survivors coming down. Ham, Noah's Wife, and Japheth. Got a Book of the Covenant coming down. Can't go to reserve on turn. Oh yeah, this is round 2. Yep. Takes Book of the Covenant, or use the Book of the Covenant, take Covenant of Abraham from reserve, and takes Moses, which is very interesting here. But he gets to negate undesirables with it. That makes a lot of sense. See if Luke was able to draw into any defense. But yeah, this is Luke's making sure he's got the right plugin, or that their plugins match here. And it is in fact Moses that Jay is attacking with. And Moses being the unofficial flood survivor. Is kind of adopted into the flood survivor crew, I guess. Yeah. All right, and yeah, so Humble does not make undesirable CBP since it was not played during battle. It was already in play, so being CBP doesn't really do anything. Not to mention both of them have 4 cards in hand, so Humble would not be active anyway. I guess maybe Luke could have blocked and then to take a card out of his hand and then just let him die, but either way, Moses would negate undesirables, and Humble had nothing to do about it. And Luke just drew the Harvest Lost Soul, which now is negated by Moses as well. So yeah, that's that really worked out for Jay there to grab Moses. That was a good play, and that's you know, Jay doesn't do a whole lot with his reserve in the Flood Survivor deck, but when he does do things with his reserve, it works out for him, I guess. So it's a good play. So Storehouse coming down for Luke. Get that protection, which you know, Flood doesn't really care too much about. It's not really doing a whole lot with your hand or your deck. Jay's deck is really just about controlling his own deck, his own hand, and the Lost Souls on the table. So see if the cross goes down. We do know that Jay has a 3 woes here, so Luke turning that down could be a little bit risky, but he's doing it for Covenant with Death. That's a smart play. Turns on his undesirables and his harvest and imitate if he's able to find that. And now we'll see if he can generate any Lost Souls here without searching. And definitely going to be tricky. It's possible that he just goes out with Elijah to choose High Priest Ananias and play something. Get him out of the way. It's like things are being moved around here. Looks like he's going into battle with Jehoshaphat. Maybe just bouncing... bouncing High Priest Ananias to take him off the Shield Unity. And into David. Alright. Ooh, that was free. Sorry, Joby. Oh, and bans Team Matan in reserve. That's a pretty good play right there, if I do say so myself. Good. One of the best posties. Not the best, of course, but yeah, one of a few good ones. So we're gonna be able to go see what Jay's got going on here. Get a quick look through his deck. And Lost Soul comes out. Not sure if the weapon actually gets played at that point. I'm wondering about the weapon, how that works with Covenant with Death. I'm not positive that it is played at that point with Covenant with Death. His play is used by a character and also be used by a character in battle because the previous character to use it has been removed in battle. Characters are played. Cannot be if they're restricted from being played. Looks like Jay is typing in the Discord here. I'm gonna keep digging in the REG. So enhancement is played when it is used by a character, unless it is being used by a character in battle because the previous character to use it has been removed from battle. That is not the case. It is being used by a character, which would be David in this case. Let's see. I just don't know if it, like, if it's still kind of played because it's already in battle. So, I mean, like, if it wasn't played at all, then it seems like the numbers wouldn't even get to be there, which is why I'm unsure. Weapon class enhancement, special kind, weapon class enhancement referred to as weapons, special ability on a weapon, only activates in battle. Once equipped, weapons are always treated as equipped cards and follow the characters equipped with them to any location they are moved to, except when the equipped character is captured or rescued, in which case the weapon is discarded. That doesn't help during battle. Okay, yeah, I guess Marcus confirmed that the weapon does not activate because of Covenant with Death. So, yep, looks like Jay is able to block with High Priest Ananias here. And we'll see if he has something to win the battle. And he's got just a hireling, yep. Discarding his High Priest Ananias to shuffle away his Lost Soul. That's a big one. It's only one Lost Soul that he's shuffling away, but at this point, you kind of got to take what you can get. Getting these blocks against an aggressive offense like Luke has going on here, especially because looks like from a defensive perspective, Luke doesn't really have anything going on. So yeah, we'll see what Jay is able to pull off here, if he's able to find another rescue. The downside with Luke activating Covenant with Death here is that he was not able to bring Abigail into battle to get some drawing. She would be negated as well. All right, Jay chooses to take the draw one off a book, risking the draw of a Lost Soul. Looks like it paid off for him there. Yeah, Covenant with Death. It's not a card that you would think that Luke would want to have active in this matchup, because Noah's Wife makes all of Jay's heroes CBP. But against the Moses that Jay has splashed into his deck, then that Covenant with Death kind of works out for Luke to have that available, especially because he's playing Moses in his own deck. That's kind of the idea, is being able to control, what's on and what's off. So Egypt is played by Jay to go search for Storehouse. Book of the Covenant going to reserve for Oath of Purity. It's a way to bounce his Moses to give him unity for a new beginning. So he bounces Moses and Noah's Wife. Back to his hand. Noah's Wife coming back down to be CBP, so that she's working through Covenant with Death. And three woes coming down on undesirables, I'm sure. Well, they could have waited if it was undesirables. Negating Harvest, okay. Yeah, I can see that. He could have waited until he was in battle to make that determination, but so we see a Burial, Deceiver, and a Lost Soul there from Jay. He could take the Deceiver as kind of his blocking option. He could take Burial in case Luke is able to generate a Lost Soul somehow, but he may not want to reveal the Burial to Luke, otherwise he might try to find a way to play around it, turning on Covenant with Death and rescuing with Abigail, protect Lost Souls and opponent's territory from evil cards. So I think the Deceiver is the safer play for him there. Especially since he doesn't have a Lost Soul out, so he doesn't need to necessarily have the Dom block ready there. He can just have the potential for the regular block there that Deceiver allows or enables him to have. So Japheth coming in, looked at the 3, protecting Lost Souls from evil cards. It's interesting that Jay is not negating undesirables, but instead just going for Harvest. I mean, I think he should have held on to 3 woes until he knew he was going to potentially rescue a Lost Soul. Trying to think of what reason he would have had to play it ahead of time. Something to activate the cross during battle if Luke had a way to activate it, but all the ways that I can think of would be negated by Covenant with Death. Something like Pagan Sailors. I think Tubal Cain only activates from your reserve. So Deceiver going to Emperor Nero. Nero with the protection, and Jay drops Faith Among Corruption. Places it in territory, which he couldn't do with Covenant with Death active, so it's good for him to get that out of the way. And it's still his initiative by the numbers, so it's kind of just getting that out for free. And here comes Covenant with Adam to negate Nero, revealing Second Coming, and bringing Japheth's numbers up to 8-11. So Jay is now winning the battle. We'll see if Luke has anything to play on Nero, or if it's purely just a chump block here. But looks like that's all that Luke had, which works out really well for Jay, given that the Covenant of Adam goes back to his hand, and Luke gives him the Harvest, maybe? Maybe he didn't realize that Woes was on a Harvest. So I think he probably wants to give him Undesirables instead. He probably was thinking that, oh, I bet Luke's got Falling Away in his hand. So he can play Falling Away to bring Harvest back into play and generate a Lost Soul that way, because once it's back into play, it would not be negated by Woes. So that's man, I don't know if I would have sacrificed the opportunity to give up Undesirables there. But I mean, clearly since Jay didn't negate it, like that was kind of his plan. And also, if Jay was really intent on negating Harvest, he didn't put an evil character down for Sheol. So Luke might just have a free rescue here where he can turn down Covenant with Death, get a draw 3 up of Abigail, maybe go to an Angel of the Winds first for a King Saul, or use Angel of the Winds first for a King Saul to get an extra draw 1 there. Lots of things that Luke can do here. We do know that Jay did take a Deceiver though, so he does have at least 1 evil character in hand. So 3 woes coming down on Luke's side here to negate Storehouse. That way Matan can actually search for a Lost Soul. While Jay doesn't have Unity for Sheol, that's getting every opportunity to play a Lost Soul can make a difference here. And there's the Falling Away to bring Harvest back into play and make another token. So I think that if Luke was planning to attack with Matan here, what I would have done is held off on playing the Falling Away until you're actually in battle and Jay blocks. Say he's got High Priest Annis, then if he blocks with that, he's going to be able to underdeck both Lost Souls. But he also might just be planning to attack with Abigail. We see that he turns down Covenant with Death here. So he's going to at least put another hurdle in the way of Jay underdecking the Lost Souls. Alright, looks like Luke is moving on to battle here. Now, Cross being down maybe helps him out a little bit. Tossing CBN enhancements is certainly beneficial in an offense that bans as much as his deck does. And also restricting dominance is, can be helpful. Avoid the down blocks like the burial that we saw earlier, which was shuffled back in or placed on the bottom of Jay's deck, as far as we know. But 3 Woes is down and can negate Cross, so it's something that Jay can play around if he needs to. But also, we know that Undesirables is probably going to be a Woes target unless Jay decides to put Moses back down, which I suppose would make sense. So, yep, sure enough, here comes Luke with Abigail. He has to draw 3 because he's got 3 OT warrior class heroes. Matan does count. He is Old Testament based on his identifier, even though it's not based on his reference. He is a gospel hero, but also Old Testament. And Abigail able to ban to David. And I'm quiet, aren't I? I should turn myself up a little bit. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Sorry guys, if that was like really quiet and you had to crank up the volume this whole time. I think this microphone is just a little bit quieter. I might be able to turn up the gain here. If I can find it. There it is. Ishmael coming in to draw some more cards. And is this working? Am I going up? Maybe I'm going down. I don't know. I'm just gonna... That's really hard to access with this thing here. Hopefully it's not just like annoying for me touching it. I think this is going up. Looks like it's going up. Maybe not. I don't know. Just talking at different volumes and... Okay. Yep, that looks like it's a little bit better there. So sorry if you had it cranked up and now you gotta turn it down. So Ishmael, banned to Joshua, underdecked. Book of the Covenant, interesting. Interestingly, not Sheol. Exchanged for Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat bounces Noah's wife. It's not really what you want. You kind of prefer her to be on the battlefield if you're not, like activating something to negate her. But that's all right. And then banning to Jeremiah. Chooses not to go with Matan here. So really, Jay just has to have a way to get around Abigail to hide 1 lost soul. Storehouse being negated, Luke is able to look at Jay's hand. I want to see as well. So he's got a Deceiver. Curious what he's got to go for here. Maybe Dubious Doubters could negate Abigail and protect the lost souls, but Luke would have the opportunity to play something off of Throne, so if he has a way to negate that, then that would certainly make things difficult. But yeah, looks like Deceiver's coming down. Jay's wasting no time here. There's the Dubious. Conveniently has toughness of 6, which is 1 higher than Ishmael's count right now, so not being prevented by Ishmael. Dubious negates Abby, banishing Nero from Luke's discard pile, and yeah, gets to protect his Meek Lost Soul from rescue here. Kicks out David, which means that Slingstones is not in battle, which could come in to play here. And we'll see what... well, probably won't actually, I guess, because he's tossing the next anyway. But we'll see what Luke is able to do with Throne here, if anything. Otherwise, this might just be a chump block for Jay. I'm a little curious why he chose not to banish First Sacrifice instead. He would have been able to. I guess that's the card that most likely, or Luke would have been most likely to be able to get back. I would think, at least. Coming Prince, Malachi, any of those could be splashed in. All right, Luke's trying to figure out what the cards were that he drew with Abigail. So I think he said that Joshua was one of them, and so the other two cards go back. All right, so then I guess Luke will get to draw one of those cards back with Throne. And see if he has something to play. He probably doesn't want to play anything that just wins the battle, unless he can do something to interrupt or negate Dubious Doubters. So Council of Abigail would be good here. Isaiah New Covenant would not. And looks like he doesn't have anything to play, so he passes initiative. And Jay, as we saw, didn't have anything in hand, so he's going to just die with the Lost Soul protected. Still a lot of value for Luke on that attack, but not rescuing a Lost Soul is could put him in trouble, I guess. He's kind of on the back foot now, even though he's got a lot of card advantage, but against Flood, all of that can change in an instant. And Flood isn't necessarily concerned about the card advantage game. It's really a manipulation of resources more so than just pure resource advantage. Thing about Luke's deck here is that it's not relying too much on like territory class enhancements for speed and everything, and so after a reset, Luke would still have some options to get back into the game fairly quickly. It's a lot of character-based speed. Tishmaya, Abigail, Angel of the Winds to get a hero that does things. So, all right, Luke passes the turn here. See the defensive resources that Jay's had to go through so far, but they have been getting him some blocks, so that works out well. He takes Behemoth with Storehouse. He uses Woes to negate the cross. Go ahead and edit that note for him there. I'll just wait. They know what's going on. I'm not sure how multiple people putting notes on the same card works. I don't think it would overwrite it. Maybe it would. I don't know. Joe's Cup taking a New Beginning. Pretty quick choice for Jay there, but I think he knows that a new beginning is going to be an important aspect of this game, just based on how much advantage Luke has card-wise here. Looks like before Jay goes to his attack, Luke wants to play Dominant. He's playing Son of God on the Harvest there, which is a little bit safe now. I guess the Dubious Doubters is gone, but I don't think Jay is running like Jerusalem or any way to get him back. So I guess with the cross negated, he's open to or free to play Son of God at his first opportunity. Okay, so New Beginning was taken off of Joe's Cup, and now Priest of Zeus taken off of Japheth. I was like, oh, why did he get to use Joe's Cup again? But he's doing the other thing. And he's protecting Lost Souls, so even if Luke did draw back into Deceiver, then Uzza would not be a block here. Notably, Jay is, we're now into what, turn 3, I think, and Jay has not found his Noah. Is this only turn 3, or is this, yeah, I feel like it's got to be turn 3. Luke blocks with a Foreign Wives, which I don't believe is active, or I don't think she's protected. I think Luke just is getting the stalemate here, putting a body in front of Japheth, and of course he's got Covenant with Adam still, which hopefully Luke remembered that and didn't just kind of play into that, not remembering that Covenant with Adam was in there. It's possible that he did, but he's only got 3 cards in hand, so it's, who knows what he has enhancement wise. Maybe an unsuccessful or something like that. The defense that Luke's running seems to be very chumpy here. So all right, so he's got a wages. He takes the human's plot from reserve, so he might underdeck wages in order to play the plot here, because that would give him initiative once again. Interestingly, I guess we might see Jay use Faith Among Corruption here to negate the Wages of Sin, because it was the last evil enhancement played by opponent. And yep, Jay sees that line, uses it there to negate and discard Wages, brings it off the bottom of the deck and puts Haman's Plot back into reserve. I think Luke was maybe a little hesitant there because he saw that line as well and just kind of hoping for the best. He revealed the top instead of the bottom there, accidentally showing us a Nebuchadnezzar off the top. Wages coming off the bottom and going to his discard. And now I'm going to find it hard to believe that Luke has something else here, but maybe he does. Maybe one of those last 2 cards is something he can use here. Yep, Faith Among Corruption does discard the evil enhancement, so even if it didn't, it would still be Luke's initiative, but he would have a target for grapes or something like that, I guess, if he's running that. Wages goes discard. Okay, he's got a delivered. Playing it, I suppose the numbers do kind of matter here. It's an 8 attack that Jay has, and with Foreign Wives and delivered, that's a 9 toughness. So Luke's able to get a little bit of a head start with his Book of the Covenant here by activating it from reserve and taking his Covenant with David. We'll see if Jay has something else to back it up here. Looks like he does. Able to play his 1/7 enhancement, even though he doesn't have Unity, he doesn't get the ability, but that 1 is all he needed in order to win that battle. And Moses is down, negating Lost Souls. So we'll see what Luke decides to give up here, because he really doesn't want to give him Imitate, because he wants to be able to imitate Harvest, but he doesn't want to give him Harvest either. Humble is really strong. It's hard to give up, especially if Moses is on. That's a good granting a modifier, so it's the only Lost Soul that's actually working right now. And Undesirables just feels really bad to give up when you have other options. So yeah, I can see this being a tough choice for Luke here. I think that's probably the decision I would have made too in his position, just giving up Humble and hoping for the opportunity to give him one of the other ones here later on. I think if he reactivates Covenant with Death, he can negate Moses and turn the Lost Souls back on, and he's really needing those right now. Fortunately for him, too, Jay does not have an evil character down for Shield, and so Majestic Heavens can make a token without triggering Shield, because it is a mandatory search. So typically, if they do have Shield Unity, then Majestic Heavens would wouldn't actually work, because they would just get to underdeck the Lost Soul that you generate, the token that you generate. But in this case, it will be able to generate a Lost Soul for him. So we'll see if Jay's just bluffing no defense, or if he actually didn't have something there. In his upkeep, his 3 O's is evil. He's able to negate Moses and imitate on Harvest to make another Lost Soul. So that's a pretty big deal for Luke here. He's going to have a Lost Soul to go after. Which, yeah, that's really the tricky part with Jay's deck, is just having enough Lost Souls to go after. Having at least one each turn, and then eventually he's going to need to generate a couple more in order to get the Son of God and Second Coming Big 2 rescue here. So we are at 2-2. Luke, I believe, has played Falling Away, yep, and Son of God, and Jay has played neither of his dominance, nor has he played Falling Away. So Jay is definitely in the driver's seat here. Despite all of the massive offense that Luke has going on, really not a whole lot of defense left to be seen in the game right now. Especially based on our seeing Jay's hand, we know that 2 of his cards are Second Coming and Covenant with Adam. Not sure. I think we know a few of the other cards, but I don't remember what they off the top of my head here. He's gone through a lot more of his reserve than he normally does, which is interesting. The Flood probably not going to play in here, although if it does, it will hit the evil 3 woes that Luke has down. Alright, so Book of the Covenant is staying active. Luke taking New Covenant from his reserve, I believe, with Storehouse, and then taking Covenant with Adam with Book of the Covenant. Okay, yeah. Hair in my mouth. Take that out. Golgotha coming down. Looks like Luke does not opt to search for an evil character with that. I think it's just an alternate location for the cross. Puts down another face-down artifact. I'm sure it's one of his covenants that he just searched for, probably Covenant with Adam. I imagine he wants to hang on to New Covenant for playing in battle. I could be wrong about that. And he drops Covenant with David in territories as 1 territory class enhancement for this turn to go find a site or good fortress from deck. He goes to find Nazareth. And now he can site up all of his Lost Souls, which is that's pretty good for him, pretty strong. I guess Jay does have site access with Ham, and Ham is currently active, I believe, because Moses is negated and nothing else is negating characters in territory. So Luke would have to find a way to negate Ham somehow, and then stop him from being replayed as DBP by Noah's wife. Maybe negate him after the hero comes into battle or something like that. So here comes the cross from Luke, active on Golgotha. And turning off the dominance. I don't think Jay has too many CBN enhancements that will be tossed by the cross. Faith Among Corruption would have been one of them. The Rainbow, I guess, would be the other important one. Both of those are now in his discard pile, so he's got those out of the way. And coincidentally, I guess the Rainbow would have still won him the battle, even if the cross was active, since he just needed that 1 strength in order to win that battle. Here comes Abigail. Luke does choose to draw his 3 cards. Does not draw a Lost Soul by the looks of it. He's got 15 cards left in deck. And let's see, I guess I suppose it'd be 3 lost souls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 lost souls left. Potentially a hopper. Not sure if he's running that with Moses in his deck or not. He also put down a Melchizedek. That's important for Jay's defense to, another layer that he has to work through with both Abigail and Melchizedek. Abigail bans to David. I wonder if Luke is not running King Saul in this build. Otherwise, you would expect him to go Angel of the Winds. I guess, it doesn't work through Nazareth. So, I could see that potentially it's still in there. So David bans to Ishmaiah. Ishmaiah draws 3 more. It's still no lost soul. Banning to Joshua to underdeck Sheol and exchanging for Jehoshaphat, who bounces somebody here. We'll see who he goes with. Guessing maybe Noah's wife again, since that's what he did previously. And let's see who Jehoshaphat bans to here. I guess he's going to bounce somebody first. Oh, he bans to Isaiah. And hands it over. All right. So yeah, Jay hands it over. So now Luke is up to 3. He still played one of his dominants, and Jay still got a Falling Away, probably somewhere in there. I think he was running Falling Away, if I remember from the last game. And Luke passes the turn. Jay draws his 3. No lost souls. Woes on the cross. And stricken star ability. She wants to do before his woes, I guess. Or maybe. He's saying he missed it, but he got a little aggressive with the woes on cross. Needed to get his Son of God, playing that probably to rescue undesirables here. Yep. Something tells me it might not matter anyway. Luke, his defense has been a little few and far between, but I guess if he got back to Deceiver, then it would make a difference. Because it is a reserve here, you could potentially go to as a block. Storehouse takes Flood from reserve, and Oath of Purity comes up. I guess Jay drew that back. Bounces his Moses. And it's interesting that he, needed to or wanted to woe or to Son of God his undesirables when he did, when he could have just put down Moses and replayed him. But I guess then that would have negated Ham. So I suppose that does make a difference there. He could have also just bounced Ham and Moses, though, put Moses down first, and then Noah's wife, make him CBP. Looks like Jay had the option of taking Noah there, but takes the defense instead with Annas the Elder. And that's his rescue attempt, protecting lost souls from evil cards. Side access with Ham. And an imitate and a harvest here for the Pickens. Luke did need to draw a lot of cards last turn, but we know that a few of them were some heroes like Isaiah and Captain. Some of them were artifacts and covenants that he had searched for. So the 6 cards in his hand may not be enough to get on the block if we saw the resources that he had last turn. See if he drew into something that he can use here. We knew that there was a Nebuchadnezzar on top of his deck, but it's not going to do him a whole lot of good with Nazareth down on the table unless he drew some kind of battle winner for him. Okay, so Malachite Slave. Yep. It's kind of the sacrifice that he has to make at this point is capturing Malachite Slave to Jay, not getting to search because of Nazareth, but just creating the lost souls to be able to rescue. We do know that Jay has Second Coming in his hand, though, and I believe that let's see. Yeah, since Woes is on the cross, I believe that there's nothing else stopping Jay from playing that Second Coming there and getting the win. So, despite having 28 cards left in his deck, Jay was able to dig through enough to get his dominance and take the game 5-3, therefore taking the Grand Prix altogether. So Lackey Grand Prix number 8, the classic one. We get that from we give that to our fearless Lackey Grand Prix leader, that Jay Chambers. We'll see if it looks like Jay maybe has to hop off here right away, but curious if he had anything to beat Nebby, if Luke did go that route. Knowing that Jay had Second Coming in his hand, that probably would have been his best bet here. We can get Jay on here if he's able to join in. I don't think Luke will be able to, but hey, there's a Jay maybe. Oh, I should probably put my headphones back in now.
All right, here I am.
And now I can hear you.
Yep.
Welcome back. Well, you have done it now. You've won a game, so it feels a little bit better to be part of an interview, right?
Right.
This was quite the game. A very offensive game. Luke got off to a pretty quick start, but I think one of the things that I brought up during the game was that Flood isn't too concerned with that as most other decks are.
Yeah, which card? The defense?
Just the card advantage that Luke was able to get.
No.
It seems like Flood is definitely one of the more resilient themes to
absolutely.
Kind of speed.
I mean, I did this all weekend last weekend at Mr. Classic. I mean, it did it again against this deck. I mean, I really have always liked Flood versus Throne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Flood versus Jake, especially when he's willing to pull out the Rubble and Dust. Although that Rubble and Dust ended up costing him the game. This Moses tech really helped against Luke.
That was crazy.
I didn't play this deck in the Swiss rounds. I don't think it would have changed much. But anyhow, Luke's saying I should hide my face in shame. But I've got to go.
To clarify, Luke was saying he should hide his face, not you should hide yours.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, well, thanks for making the time for the games tonight, and
well, I won all the classic things.
It was a crazy road to get there, I guess, but you made it. Get the classic things. Yep.
I think I'll go down in history as the only GP champion who's a GP champion because of a DQ. So
there's still time, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's fun. Anyway, we'll be posting the signups or creating the signups for Lackey Grand Prix number 9. All Lackey Grand Prix will be rotation through nationals.
Awesome.
Everyone have a good time. Jay has to go work on schoolwork.
All right. Well, you have a good time with that.
I'll try.
Hopefully we can get some good practice in for Nats.
Absolutely. Peace out, everybody.
All right. See you, Jay. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for watching. I guess I forgot to ask Jay if he had actually had anything to beat Nebuchadnezzar in that last rescue there. If Luke had blocked with Nebi instead of Malekith's slave, but yeah, the banquet definitely wouldn't have gotten him there because Japheth had the lost soul protection, and where Japheth went. And yeah, I don't know if yeah, all Jay needed was numbers, which I guess we know that he had coming with Adam again, right? So yep, he would have been able to use that still. So yeah, that means that Jay is not only our Mr. Classic champion, but he is also the Classic Grand Prix champion. And like you said, Lackey Grand Prix number 9 will be coming up here pretty soon. Let Jay know if you want to join that, or post that in the Lackey Grand Prix Discord. If you're not a part of that, you can reach out to myself or Jay, and we'll get you a link to invite you. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll let's call it a night. Catch you next time.